Well, hello, mamas. Hello, everybody. I think I'm a little low on my camera here. Sorry about that. And something's happening on YouTube. Oh, goodness. All right, YouTube. I guess Facebook will be you and me today. Something's happening with YouTube again. So, mamas, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I hope you've had a good week. And, it's time to talk more about the dip. All right, I know I've been absent for a couple days, so sorry about that. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about this idea of the dip being recreated. So if you don't know, the dip is when your kiddo was doing really great. You know, things seemed to be awesome at school. Grades were good. Homework was all caught up. And then suddenly, right around this time of year, right around at the end of quarter one, things didn't go well anymore. You got a bad report at parent-teacher conferences. Maybe you really took a good look at those recent grades and you're wondering what happened. So, based on that, mamas, let me know, are you concerned about the dip? You know, are you kind of freaking out right now? Are you feeling pretty chill? You know, are you proud of your teen? Let me know down below what's that one word you'd use to describe how your teen's doing in school right now, how worried you are about the dip. Before I get going into this idea of recreation, do know I have an awesome event coming up called the Mid-Semester Refresh. It is for all of you mamas out there that have a tween, a teen, a college student, and you're wondering how are we going to make it to the end of the semester. So sign up for that free event by clicking the link in the description. All right. So, hopefully you've told me, yay, things are going well, or no, Jessyka, I'm really worried. So, let's talk about the idea of recreation. So there's two things I want to address in this video. The first is that the dip is a pattern. If nothing changes, the dip is going to be recreated. The second thing is that in order to stop the dip from happening, your teen really has to recreate himself. He needs to come up with some new habits, some new methods to prevent this from happening again. We'll talk about prevention tomorrow for like next year, but just know recreation is our theme for today. So it's a pattern, okay? That's what I said first. So that means that if your child is going through the dip right now, the dip is going to happen every single quarter, every single semester. So if you've noticed this for a while now, maybe you've got a kiddo in high school, and I gotta tell you, a lot of teens I work with at Ace Cookie Tutoring, freshman year is very, very rough, and it's extremely rough on those students who don't know how to learn, especially those that have just been kind of, acing things, who have just been kind of coasting up to this point. So I gotta tell you, this might come as a surprise, this dip, or it could be, it just seems like all the time. It seems like quarter one's rough, we get it together, and then it starts all over again in quarter three. So definitely do know, mamas, this pattern is going to be recreated if your child doesn't have executive functioning skills, if he doesn't know how to learn. Okay? So before we go into the idea of recreating new habits and what exactly it is that your child needs to learn in order to know how to learn, how to have an awesome school year, I want to say thank you for being here on Facebook. Make sure you hit that follow button of Ace Cookie Tutoring so you don't miss future live videos. And again, normally it would be on YouTube, but seem to be having some issues with my connection. So if you're not a subscriber of YouTube, do know there is all sorts of awesome content over there as well. So we've talked about the first part of recreation. Let's talk about the second part. Okay, so recreating your teen. Okay. So what I mean by this is if the dip is happening, or if you're worried that it is happening, or it might happen, or you're just going, Jessyka, just give me some tips. Just tell me how to get my teen to do his homework. Tell me how to help my teen like school, to figure out this whole thing you're talking about, this how to learn. Well, do know if your child is not turning in his homework. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. Maybe he didn't do it. Maybe he doesn't know how to do it. Or maybe he did it and he just never turns it in. Those are three very, very, very different issues. And we'd have to figure out which skill it is that your teen is really missing. Okay? Because that can happen and lead to the dip. Your teen just doesn't get it. Well, of course his grade's going to go down. If he's not turning his homework, of course his grades are going down. He does it and then just always turns it in late. If never, again, grades are going to go down. Okay? And for those of you that are wondering, okay, well, what else needs to happen? Do you know that liking school is directly tied to your teen knowing how to learn? Because think about it for yourselves. You walk into a job or any type of new experience and you don't know what to do. Well, of course, you're not going to be sure how to do it. You're going to feel kind of confused, kind of lost, unless you feel confident that you know how to learn. So if your child's in that position, maybe the first few weeks of school were really easy. Maybe it was like review from last year. And then all of a sudden, this time of school year, we really start getting going into whatever grade of content your teen is in. Well, that can be like a wake-up call because your teen's like, okay, all of a sudden it's getting real. All of a sudden, the stuff is not so easy as it was a few weeks ago. And again, if your teen doesn't know how to learn, if he's not prepared for that level of content, let alone he's missing these skills on knowing how to take notes, how to actually turn in homework on time, how to actually keep himself motivated, that's when the dip happens. Okay? So, thank you so much for watching. Do you know, focus today was on recreation, the idea that the dip is a pattern and will be recreated unless your teen recreates his habits, comes up with some better skills. And tomorrow, we're talking about preparation. So definitely do know, if you want your teen to be more prepared for next year, and even for next quarter to make sure that this dip never happens again, tune in for that video on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you want even more advice about the dip, you want to hear from over 30 amazing experts about anything and everything related to mamas, to teens, to school, then you've got to attend my mid-semester refresh event happening October 24th through the 30th. All you got to do to sign up, click the link in the description, provide your name and email, and you'll be good to go. So have an awesome night, good weekend, and remember to sign up for the event so you can help your teen survive the dip. Bye, mamas.